God gives us a choice as to how we will respond to his trials and suffering. See, Paul in Romans 5 verse 3, he says, not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance. Endurance produces character, and character produces hope. But God gives us a choice as far as how we will respond to those sufferings. He puts us through difficulties and fires and tribulations and deserts so that we can be strengthened and molded more into his image. Just as he led the Israelites through the wilderness, they had the promise of the promised land, but they first had to get through the desert season. And how they responded, they had a mixed response, honestly. They responded and they said, man, I wish I was back in Egypt. And they remembered all the great food they were eating, all the leeks and the onions and all the cucumbers, all this stuff. And they began to complain, right? And so that's one way we can respond to suffering and trial, is through complaint and resentment and anger and apathy. And we begin to desire the old sinful struggles that we used to live in the past. But God calls us to more than that. He says to rejoice in our sufferings, to say, God, I don't know necessarily what's going on right now. I don't understand the full scope of things. I see through a glass darkly, just as 1 Corinthians chapter 13 says. But I still choose to trust in your plan, because you haven't failed me yet. You saved me from my own devices. You saved me from my own plans, and you set me on a rock of salvation. So I choose to trust in your plan. And that's how he wants us to respond to that. If we respond in that way, we will build character. God will build the character in us. He will turn our heart of stone into a heart of flesh if we let him. And if we respond out of that, we gain his character slowly through sanctification. God gives us hope, even in the midst of those struggles, knowing that this is only a temporary environment. This is not forever. This is not our forever home. We have a hope of eternity, and he wants us to live in that. And what is that poured out by? That is poured out by the Holy Spirit of God that resides inside of us.